Hello and welcome back to the Azure DevOps course. In this lecture, we will explain how to install the Azure Pipelines agent inside a Kubernetes cluster. So first, I will add a pool for Kubernetes. I will name it K8s and give access for all pipelines to access it. Okay, so that is the pool that will contain the Azure Pipelines agents that are inside our Kubernetes cluster. So first, let's see our cluster. That's our AKS cluster. It is an AKS cluster on Azure. So first, I want to connect to this cluster. To connect to the cluster, from here, connect. To connect to the cluster, we need to have Azure CLI, so we can run these commands. And then we can use kubectl to access the cluster. So I will open PowerShell in my machine and copy this command. This is Azure CLI command. And this command will authenticate with the cluster. AKS get credentials, it authenticates with the cluster. Okay, now we are authenticated with the cluster. If I try kubectl get nodes, I should see our AKS cluster nodes. Okay, so now firstly, I will create a namespace for our Azure Pipelines agent. I will name it azp-agent namespace. Okay, now the namespace is created. We will install our Azure Pipelines agent deployment inside this namespace. Okay, so now we have the pool, we have the namespace created, and we are connected to the cluster with kubectl. So what we need now to install Azure Pipelines agent inside the cluster, two files, a deployment file and a secret file. So that is the deployment file. In the deployment file, we will specify our image, our Azure Pipelines agent image that is inside our Azure Container Registry, and give it the environment variables for the URL and pool and token. But the token, I will give it through a secret to make it more secure. So I am using here a secret key reference, referencing a secret called azp-agent-secret. So here, that is azp-agent-secret. I will put our token here in this key, but it will be base64 encoded because that is a secret. In the secret, you must put your data encoded with base64. Okay, so that's our deployment file. We will apply the deployment file and the secret file. And if you notice here I am giving it security context privileged true because we are using Podman, and Podman needs the privilege permission to access the host. So I'm giving it security context privilege true. Okay, so let's first put our image name here. I'll turn it back to the container registry in the azp-agent repo for Linux tag and copy here the image reference and return it back, then paste here. And we need the environment variable for the Azure DevOps URL. I will take it from here, copy, okay, and the pool, I name it K8s. So now the deployment is ready. I will save it, but for the secret here, we need to give the token, but encoded with base64. So let's turn it back to Azure DevOps, and I will open personal access tokens, and I will regenerate the token for the build agent. Okay, and I will copy this token, then type here base64 converter, and paste the token here, and click on encode text to base64, and now it is encoded to base64. Let's copy the encoded token, and return it back to the secret, and paste it here, then save. So now we have the secret of the personal access token encoded in base64, and here in the deployment, in the template here, we specify the container name image, and under environment here key, we give the environment variables as a list in YAML. So that's the Azure DevOps URL, Azure DevOps pool, Azure DevOps token from the secret key, and give the security context privilege true for Podman, and the deployment has only one replica. So now let's try and apply these two files, the deployment.yaml and the secret.yaml. So I open in the PowerShell. I will type now kubectl apply -f and give it the file first the secret and make it in namespace azp-agent. So now it will put the secret in this namespace and apply deployment.yaml. So now if I enter the command to get the pods in the namespace azp-agent, we should now see the Azure Pipelines agent container is creating. It's creating the container for the Azure Pipelines agent. It will take some amount of time for the first time because it is pulling the Azure Pipelines agent from the container registry. It is downloading the image for the first time. So it will take about 2 minutes, for example. So we will wait for it. So now after 1 minute, the Azure Pipelines pod is running. It contains our Azure Pipelines agent. So if we turn it back to the pool, we should now see an agent with this name running. So let's return back for the pool, Kubernetes pool, and click on agents. We now see the Kubernetes pod agent running. Okay, and now I want to show you the scalability features of Kubernetes. We can now, by only one command, scale this agent to be 2 agents. For example, if I come here and type this Kubernetes command to scale the deployment. So now with this command, we can scale the Azure Pipelines agent deployment to have 2 replicas in 1 second. So if we enter now, the agent is scaled. And if I refresh now, I should see a new agent is installed in the pool. So now it really installed a new agent in the pool by only this command. So it is very easy to scale your agents using Kubernetes, and it's also highly available. Now we have 2 worker nodes in our Kubernetes cluster. If there is a problem in this worker node, automatically this pipelines agent will be scheduled in another node. So our pipeline agent now is highly available and it is easily scalable using the Kubernetes deployment replicas. We can scale these replicas to be any number we want, so we can scale easily, and it is also very highly available. So now let's return back and try to use the Kubernetes self-hosted agents in a pipeline. I've created pipeline to use the Kubernetes pool. If I turn it back, here in the pipeline, I have the Kubernetes build agent pipeline. It is the same pipeline as the Docker pipeline, but it uses Kubernetes here in the pool. It uses a pool called Kubernetes. It is the same. It restores the .NET Core application and test it and build it, and then use podman commands to log in and build and push. So I'll try to run it now. So now the pipeline is running in our Kubernetes agent. It has fetched the agent name now. It is using our Kubernetes pod name. And now the pipeline has finished. It used the .NET Core CLI commands and the podman for build and push. And the pipeline has completed successfully. So that's all for this lecture. We have learned how to install your Azure Pipelines agent inside a Kubernetes cluster as a deployment, and learned how to scale this Azure Pipelines agent deployment manually. But in the next lecture, we will learn how to auto-scale this deployment, how to auto-scale your Pipelines agent. So if, for example, you are needing now 5 agents for 5 jobs to run 5 jobs simultaneously, so you can make an autoscaler to listen to an external event like the starting of an job and automatically scale your Azure Pipelines agent. So that autoscaler will be Kida, and we will use Kida in the next lecture to autoscale our Azure Pipelines agent on the AKS cluster. So I hope you enjoy it, and see you in the next lecture.